The way I look at it, the poor is going to get poorer and richer is going to get richer as a worldwide classic. And as a London, I've been living in London like 20 years plus, living in a multi-mixed culture, and election is more important on behalf of that community to me, like a living together part. I'm gonna support none of them. I'm not gonna vote. I'd rather stay back and live anarchist.
The upcoming election and who is going to win is really not what we think is important, because it doesn't matter who wins the election. The importance of the election is what favors the people of the community. At the moment, there's a coalition government, and the coalition government has a policy. That policy, if Labour takes power, the policy remains the same. Really, it becomes a change of the party, because the policies basically is the same.
These coming elections are very important because it depends on who's going to look after the working class, the unemployed and the poor, and including the homeless. All those policies need to be taken into effect, to make sure that all those people are cared for. And I think Labour is going to do a good job, because after all, they brought in the NHS, they brought in the employment benefit for people. They like to help different people, of different class, including middle class. You see, at the end of the day, if you don't think of middle class, working class, and unemployed and the poor, who are you going to think of? Nobody. And this present government is just for the very rich, the fat cats. That's who they're looking out for, and that's not the way forward. That's what I think. Yeah.
What we're looking for is someone who is going to favor the communities, the migrant communities within this country. We're looking for someone who is going to give a little bit of hope to the migrant community. Look at the policies of not making life too difficult. We're not looking for anyone to give handouts to us, but just allow them to go out there, work for their money, build without looking back, thinking that there's someone behind me. As long as they don't start butchering people like what is going on in South Africa today, we're okay. It doesn't matter to me who wins or who goes there. But obviously, I'm a Labour supporter, and I would want the Labour to go into power. We have always believed over the past so many years that Labour favours the migrant community. I don't know how true that is, but if it is true, then we want Labour back into power. And without no ill feelings for the Conservatives or the Liberal Democrats. That's what I think. Someone who is going to give peace to the community, someone who is going to make democracy what it actually says it is. The definition of democracy for the people is who I want to be in that government.
Now, the participation of black and minority ethnic groups in British politics forms a major part of the debate throughout these elections. And I met with Susan Fajana-Thomas. She's a Nigerian, but has emerged a big player in British politics. I wanted to find out from her how she was able to penetrate the space and what she might have to say about the situation. It's hard to come by the handful of women walking the line of politics in Britain, and even fewer from ethnic minorities. How is it that I can find you in the office on a Saturday?
I do work.
You workaholic.
Yeah. No, it's not about workaholics, but I don't have the 5 days working days. I work 7 days a week, depending on what I've got on.
It has taken a lot of hard work and some 20 years of persistent engagement in the political space for Susan to break the glass ceiling. She tells me that nothing is handed to anyone, black or white, on a platter of gold. So you're Nigerian, you lived in Nigeria, your formative years were in Nigeria. How did you get into British politics? How did you get here, this point where you're such a high flyer in, you know, one of the top opposition political parties in Britain?
Oh, I didn't set out to be in politics. I've always, I grew up in a home where my father was an activist. I think that was what was in me. When I came to this country, I just thought there are certain issues that I'm passionate about, and I wanted to speak out about them.
What were some of these issues?
Some of the issues were housing.
There is a kind of momentum that is missing from these elections. I don't know if you would agree. But why is there some sort of a lax in the atmosphere?
People are generally disaffected with politics. Definitely the future of people in this country, the future of this country is very important. And it's about how do we deal with the deficit? How do we deal with unemployment? How do we deal with people who are even employed? People's standard of living are so high. A lot of some of the benefits have been cut and people are not coping. People are committing suicide because they're not able to live comfortably. People are going to food bank in this day and age in a developed world country like the UK. How do we address that? And most importantly, our health. How do we deal with our NHS? So those are all the issues that need to be taken forward.
And you've served as an elected mayor in this country. You were mayor of the Hackney Borough, 2011. That was a big responsibility. How did you manage it? How did you even get into that position?
I used to work for British Telecom, and I joined the union, the Communication Workers Union. So I joined the Labour Party through my union then.
That takes us to this issue of black and minority ethnic groups is a big debate in these elections and has always been for a long time. It's an issue that's been talked about time and time again, about the representation. Now you got in there. Why has it been so difficult for a lot more people to get into the game?
I've been a Labour Party member for over 20 years, and I started by getting involved, by being active in the party, by campaigning. It's about more participation, it's about involvement.
But again, there might be a flip side to that argument. I was listening to a debate recently on this issue, and you had, you know, two dissenting voices. So one person was saying that it's not about being black or a minority, it's about having something to give. So people can't vote you or elect you into public office just because you're a black or a minority. And the other person is saying, how can you even get in there if you don't have a level playing ground, if you don't have the opportunity to get in there in the first place?
The two arguments are valid. So when you were talking about politics in general with BME, with black and ethnic minority, it differs from one party to another. There are some of the parties are proactively encouraging BME, wanting the composition of their party to reflect the composition of this country, to reflect the diversity in this country. But some are not that concerned about the reflection. And having said that, people are prejudiced. Sometimes you might put yourself forward for an election, internal election, just like selection process, the primaries. The electoral college might decide, oh, she's black, or she's from an ethnic minority. We don't want that person to be representing us. But what political party need to do is to educate people that if you are black, if you are white, if you are gold, if you are yellow, as long as you have something to offer, as long as you are able to offer your service to their community, then you can represent.